want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Chagadas B'Katam. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And basically, I was in the Spirit doing this quick lesson on, I was reading out of the book of Leviticus and meditating on a few different things. And, that's why it's so important to constantly read the scriptures. And that's when you are eating the roll. That's when, you ingraining it in you when you study and you going into the words that actually makes it, it's part of your psyche. You know what I mean? That's what it talks about. A man that throws the same punch, a man throwing that same punch 10,000 times. You know what I mean? So when you constantly going over, the scriptures, that's becoming embedded in you. And again, that's going into eating that roll. And I came across, I know I've read it multiple times, but like I said, that's why you constantly reading it too, you know what I mean? And I'm always in awe when I see one of the elders, like the elder apostle Tahar, for instance, where he is able to, go into a chapter and tell you what's in the chapter when I'm trying to keep up with a precept, but that comes from the repetition. And that's the spirit, because I was trying to look of the saying, think of the saying that the elder apostle Gabar mentions, and he always says repetition is the father of skill. So the more you repeat something, the more skillful you get at it. And that's why, again, it says a man throwing that same punch 10,000 times, because you can practice 10,000 kicks or punches, but a man has mastered that one punch, but not to digress. And I was thinking about, the state of America, the state of, the average Israelite man to the man in the truth. As we all catching hell in different avenues or different perspectives or different ways. We are catching hell. I'm watching what I'm going through, because this is the year to turn up. I'm listening to our brothers going through things, and it's, Yahweh Shem Yahushua has turned up on all of us. Saying all that to say this, I was looking at one of the curses, and I was thinking about this land. And when you go into the scriptures in the book of Leviticus, I was reading this. Leviticus goes into certain laws or commandments that laws, statutes, and commandments that we're ordered not to do. For instance, it talks about, that's where you get to not line up your head, because Leviticus 19:27 says, "Ye shall not round the corners of your head, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard." So you're not supposed to line up your beard or your head. And, that's just a part of vanity, because some people, like even when you was beginning to become bald, you're not supposed to bald your head. That's part of the law, So you got men that's losing their hair, but still keep, they just, and that shows you a sign of how, the world is vain, because most men would go ahead and cut it off, as opposed to brothers really trying to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It says, "Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua." So that's going into your tattoos and whatnot. But the point I caught was verse 29, "Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness." And that's really was on my mind, because I was thinking about the fact that, part of the curses is our land, our women are harlots. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'm going to get it when you go into the book of Amos. This is Amos chapter 7, verse 10. It says, "Then Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent to Jeroboam, king of Israel, saying, Amos hath conspired against thee in the midst of the house of Israel. The land is not able to bear all his words. For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be led away captive out of their own land." Verse 12, "Also Amaziah said unto Amos," Shalakia, it says, For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be led away captive out of their own land. Verse 12. Also Amaziah said unto Amos, O thou seer, go, flee thee away into the land of Judah, and there eat bread and prophesy there. So Amaziah the priest was telling Amos to leave and go to the land of Judah, because I believe Amos was prophesying in the northern kingdom, and there eat bread and prophesy there, but prophesy not again anymore at Bethel, for it is the king's chapel and it is the king's court. So, it makes me think of the scripture where it talks about in the book of Isaiah, when it talks about prophesy to us smooth things. Um, I believe it's in Isaiah. Say prophesy to us smooth things. uh, Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was a herdsman, meaning a farmer. And I believe a herdsman, or he was a well, yeah, a farmer could move animals and whatnot, and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. Yeah, right. Verse 15, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua took me as I followed the flock, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua said unto me, go prophesy unto my people Israel. So showing you that you can't literally choose to do this thing. The Lord called him to do it. It say many are called, but few are chosen. So, Amos was chosen, out of all different men to stop what he was doing as far as, being a farmer and to go prophesy the word of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I had a commentary on Amos too. Now therefore hear thou the word of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua that says, prophesy not against Israel, and drop not thy word against the house of Israel. So basically, again, it's going into prophesy to us smooth things. Prophesy to us deceits. They didn't want to, hear the truth. Yeah. Verse 17, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Now this is Amos speaking. Thy wife shall be a harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. And Israel surely shall go, so like Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. So it made me again think of that prophecy, how your wife shall be a harlot in the city, and our women are harlots. Most of Jake haven't actually experienced a virgin. What I mean? We live in a land where the woman is taught to be liberated. Which is supposed to be a good thing. What I mean? Which is in these Babylonians' minds, which is actually like the worst thing that you could have possibly did. I was listening to this guy named his channel is Days of Noah, and I know a lot of people have crossed the paths of a video of the the Hebrews, Israelites, brothers in the truth. I mean, I can't say what camps, but I know, like the Elder Apostle Tahar said, GMS floods the internet with video, so more than likely it's probably a GMS brother. Can't always say that's the truth, but you've had some of our opposition literally make statements like that. All we do is do videos, and but it talks about give Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua no rest. What I mean? So we suppose that's what else we gonna do, like the Elder Apostle Tahar and a few elders I've heard make mention of. I ain't got nothing else but this. And he was saying how basically when you go into like the whole, women's liberation, I did a video on it, when you go into Wonder Woman, which literally goes into Diana, and when you go into Acts about the silversmith and the temple of Diana, you know what I mean? That all goes back to, some pagan deity, you know what I mean? When you're going back to Isis and Semiramis and all that, but saying all that, he was saying basically, it was actually a means for Esau to actually be able to like social engineering. Now they could tax the woman when, for most cultures, a woman wasn't expected to work. All she was supposed to do is work for her husband. So now, because you got this women liberation, a woman is allowed to be promiscuous and join unto different men upon men, which is cool at the moment, but when things become, what's the word, chaotic, and men go back into that men like state where they have to take to survive, what else is going to be taken? Women. Because in the spoils of war, if you've ever seen any movies, like for instance, I just through the spirit just popped up in my mind that movie, the movie Fury with Brad Pitt. That old, I want to say that's like World War. I forgot what movie it was. I want to say it was a World War II or something like that. But basically, when they came over there and occupied the city, they basically Brad Pitt got the young guy some sex because they went in there, occupied the city. Brad Pitt found a woman, and he found the woman for the young guy, and that's nothing new. That's always been, they show you that in the movie Troy. you know, he ended up getting Hector's cousin because when you go into booty and spoils of war, women typically are. That's why they typically kill the men and keep the young boys and the young women and the ladies or the women, because the women gonna be concubines. They're gonna raise the young girls up to be concubines, and the young boys gonna be slaves up under their oppressors, just like they did, our forefathers and us. You niggas fail to remember how your forefathers came over here. You are a product unlike any other group of people that's called themselves a part of America. Your forefathers came over here on slave ships. But like I said, I was thinking about that. Because like I said, that's part of a curse. You get what I'm saying? And then when you go into the law, it literally talks about how where is that at? Leviticus chapter 18. Leviticus 18 and verse 25, and the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. Now this is talking about when we got to the promised land and we were spewed out, by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But then you got to understand, it talks about the defilement of a land in the book of Numbers. And, blood defileth the land. And the only way to, cleanse that land is by the blood of those that defiled it. So, our forefathers came over here, and a lot of our forefathers died over here, from being tortured, hung, or if they just broke their backs, in slavery. You got to understand, John Henry was actually a real man, you know what I mean? Like, that exhausted itself to death. But, I was just thinking about like our people, it talk about that's why the elder breaks on how our people are more Gentiles than the heathen, because of the fact, they have taken on these customs of these other nations. You think of Wu-Tang Clan, and them Jake, of course, but they literally are all, embedded in Moab's culture. Now, when you go into history, you'll find out that you had like certain samurais was Jake. You had certain martial artists was Jake. Heck, the elders and certain brothers feel that Bruce Lee could have possibly been a Jake, which could have possibly been. You got to understand, Jake is, is like the salt of the earth. He has flavor and seasoning. Bruce Lee is the first one to come up with MMA. That's how ahead of his time he was. But saying all that to say this, by us partaking in a lot of these lewd acts, because even if you're not doing something like homosexuality, like we're sinning here constantly. You got to remember, before you came up and was awakened and by the grace of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to have your eyes open to that you are Israelite and to try to come back to the law, statutes, commandments, you were a heathen as well. So you was celebrating Christmas. You was celebrating Thanksgiving. All these fucked up holidays that really forward this man's agenda. It's so funny because like the brother just did a video, the brother from Men of Valor, and he was saying, now that they witchcraft ain't working, what's the next step for Esau Edom? He gonna come down with his sword. It tells you in the book of Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, that the devil come down with great wrath because he knew that he had for a short time. A lot of brothers heard and seen a video where Biden talking about we got to be the forerunners of this NWO. What do you think that whole thing going on in Russia with Ukraine and all them? There's one last scripture. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 29, verse 9. Because it goes into the priest, and the priest is supposed to be completely separate. You got to understand the first priests were the sons of Aaron. So the high priest was put on or was held at a completely separate measure, but all the priests were considered separate. That's why they didn't own any lands because their portion was the Lord. You know what I mean? But it says Leviticus chapter 21 verse 9, and the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profane of her father, she shall be burnt with fire. And that's why, you're going to have a great judgment. And, Micah chapter 7 pops in my head because you had a lot of women, like I said again, because of the way America is set up, that have defiled themselves and played the harlot. And a lot of, it's more women on the planet than it is men. So if the whole world's about to be judged, there is going to be a lot of judgment towards women. And that's just clear-cut logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, men ain't going to be getting judged, but if it's more women than men and the women are the weaker vessels, then it's going to be way more judgment to women. So, this is the time while we got this grace period. If you are so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, you are a child of Yahshua Allah, you're an Israelite, and you should come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because, like I said, it's funny, again, that it says she shall be burnt with fire, and then we talk about the ultimate judgment of America, which is those ICBM missiles, those intercontinental ballistic missiles that's going to hit on this place. And, we were looked at upon as crazy at one point in time, but then you're hearing about Russia talking about this with the nuclear war weapons and talking about he threatening America with ICBMs and nuclear weapons. So, it's just, it's spiritual because, like I say, a lot of women gonna catch that hellfire. Shit, Russia got a missile called Satan. It's Satan too, and Satan, the bride of Satan, and all kind of So, that being said, if you're an Israelite and this video is making sense, or you understanding these scriptures, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Chakados Bakatham. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Until next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Mawatha Lababal. Shalom.